Hey, hi guys. Um, Welcome back. This is Vinod here, Vinod Kumar. So I'm just come up with my next video. So today I'm just sitting outside in my favorite place under my favorite tree. This is my favorite tree, I would say. So it's just quite a nice place. Basically, you see today all everybody's like really come out to have a good time. So it's sunny and it's pretty. The summer is really good if you see the colors. So so good actually. So yeah, and here I am sitting, and I was wondering what should I be speaking about, and then I thought, okay, let me talk about how I came into this. Okay, so how I came into this particular idea of spirituality, and what is this whole thing about spiritual awakening process. So what happened was, just before that, I would really like to kind of touch upon one more important thing that I wouldn't really want it to be the main thing, main emphasis in my videos or anything, but I just wanted, that is also an important aspect which I wanted to discuss separately about that. But then I told you in my previous video, if you had seen that, well, the reason why I'm not yet married and stuff is because I'm gay, and I mean, that is one of the key reasons which I didn't want to get married, because as you know, I come from a traditional Indian family, so culturally they don't even know what it is about or what was it about also. So I struggled for for about from the age, say, 12 13 years onwards, when you realize something is different. And I mean, I don't know exactly, 10 to 12, 10 12 12 till the age of, I would say, 27 20, till 30 at least. Exactly, if I would say 30, around 30 is where I was struggling to get to terms with my sexuality, because I was completely denying till a certain, say, from the time I knew that I was a little different. I had no one to talk to, no one to even ask about this, or because we never talk about anything about sexuality or anything in India, and especially even with your friends or anything, you don't even consider. I mean, don't talk about it, basically. And I was pretty much shy guy, so I kept it to myself, and kind of just, you know what, I knew that I was getting attracted to men, but then I thought it might be the same for others, and then you start with that, you have your encounters and things like that, and then you have this guilty feeling that you're doing something wrong. So that started from a very young age, and that's when I started building up this another personality, where I usually think the gay, whenever I have the thoughts of being like or attracted to men and things, I usually think that is a different person totally. I try to kind of kind of think there are two people, like one is the one which I show outside world, basically, all, even to my parents or anybody for that matter, would be the would be the person who they think is very normal and nothing wrong with them, is very obedient, very good. Yeah, I mean, by nature I was very good, in terms of I was not thinking any way, doing any harm or anything mischievous. I was not like that. It's just that this thought of it, especially just when it came to the age of teenage and things, I was um, I was just a little bit kind of, what is it? I was trying to dissociate myself from this sexuality, and discussing about that. I couldn't even discuss, for that matter, with my friends, let alone then my parents and all. No way, you cannot talk to them, and so it was just nowhere. I had no help. That time we had very limited information on the. I mean, I never had internet access at that point of time, so there was no way I could get any kind of information about it. So I kind of struggled for years together, and it was just one of the phases where I usually dissociate myself, like, into two characters, like one. who is normal, whom I think is normal, whom I think is kind of the person whom everybody else wants. So that's the person. The other one is the shadows. I would say now I can use this term of me, where I was living my life, but with sense of shame, if you understand what I mean. So and this went on like as initially just kind of a few incidents, and you kind of just have this guilt feeling, and then get over it, and you kind of have the encounters and get over it, and you don't tell anybody. You start having secrets. That secret building starts, and then you start you are exploring the world on your own. Nobody to even warn you or tell you anything is right or wrong, and unless you meet the people whom we meet through internet and stuff. Like in those days there was very few chatting sites, and then I understand to a point that I had no idea about what all these topics is all about, like about general normal relationships, how things would work, and all these things. I had we were we were like starving for any kind of information. Only thing, it was like so difficult to get any sort of information about it, and it is such a taboo subject that you can't even bring it up. And even talking about a straight relationship itself is wrong. Actually, you can't talk about sex. It's the worst thing to talk about, the last thing expected out of you. And so it's like that doesn't exist. So you're just jumped from the skies. That's how they think. But then as you go through in your school, they teach about reproductive system and things. Then you kind of get to know certain things, and then it's all is you, out of curiosity, you try to learn whatever bits and pieces, but without proper information. And then on top of that, then you had the this sexual, in the sense like being gay and or lesbian for that matter. I think it's the same kind of kind of torture that we have to go through. So I struggled to meet the right people. I was like I mean, I met the very wrong people. I had nobody to even support me. I've just been like, in the very early age, I can't tell these things to even my parents, and because they can't even really tolerate these things could happen to. Okay, I mean, because we are at young age, in that age, and we don't know. We go meet someone, and then you get abused and things like that, and you can't tell it anywhere outside, because first of all, that act itself, you feel so disgusted. And then on top of that, you're talking you're telling it to your parents. No way. So you just kind of go through that. That's where you just kind of feel shameful about you. There's one side of you which is totally shameful. You just hate yourself for being that person, for being tempted to do all this. And when you look at your parents who are trusting you, you just feel filled with this shame that you're, what kind of a person are you? And then you try to just forget that and just come back to the other other personality and think, okay, that doesn't exist. Maybe it was just for a time period. It comes and goes. But then that didn't go. As the days went on, and it was always there. I used to cry every now and then. I used to pray to God to say, because there was no one, and no one in my family, in my town, or in my known circle of things, people. At least I had never heard what is gay means. Also, there can be same-sex relationship or anything of that sort. So it was just a nightmare to go through. I was like feeling that I'm the only person doing all this nonsense, and I was thinking, where in the world I mean, where, who am I? What am I doing? And I was so hating myself. And then on top of that, being so you go through this all alone, and you can't tell your parents, you can't tell anybody, you can't tell your friends, because they'll judge you or being and then I put up I was a bit in the sense I had more felt like feminine qualities were more, in the sense I was very soft and kind of caring, and all these things was there in me. And but then, right, like masculine, they have to be strong, they have to go play. I told you I don't like sports that much. I was more indoors, and I used to be with my mom and things like that. And I was suddenly feeling that okay, people are looking like, I mean, father used to say, just go out and play, what you're sitting in the house like this for. And my mom, she used to be fine with me, because she used to say, yeah, it's fine, he's happy here, so she feels good that I'm not going around and creating any problems. So she's happy that I'm at home and kind of helping her out and things like that. I used to do help her in cooking, like whatever. Like I like to do that, all those things with my mom. I used to do everything, and yeah, watch TV most of the time. Watch TV and anything indoor. I liked it. I liked it a lot actually, and especially I was very very comfortable with girls, and especially my cousins. I was very comfortable, and my cousin brother and only one brother, and oh no, I never used to be comfortable with whatever he tries to say, because I just can't relate myself being that kind of a boisterous, or just that the guy who can create all problems. I was never a problem creator. I never wanted to be like that. I just thought, always wanted to just be the good person, good boy. So yeah, that's how it went. So basically that's how it went off, in the sense like basically this was the way things was going on. And then it went on for years together through my school. And then at the age of 18 or 19, that is, till then it was just it was like I used to hate most of I mean, I never liked myself. I hated to the core, because one thing was one thing again, another subject of it, is the skin color, where I never liked my skin color. I was being treated like a second class or third class in my own family, in the sense they used to compare the color. They used to say, oh, okay, you're darker, so it means like you're kind of not up there, so you kind of feel already you're put down on that front. So I was one with the darkest color skin, which was very good at that point of time to be compared with my cousins. And then to be like told that, okay, now they used to literally make a stand next to each other, and then kind of look at each other's color. Oh, this time you become fair. And then my mom used to tell, put some powder on you and just make. I'm like thinking, am I not good enough? Like I used to be, hated my skin. I thought, why? Oh God, I used to cry. Why you gave me this color? And think I was like that kind of person. So you then understand. It's like you might be anybody watching this with different. What is they who are like, I wouldn't call white or anything. I'm just saying that if you're not dark colored, I think now the Black Lives Matters all comes, and it's the same for us also. For me especially, I can relate to what they're saying as well. So then I hated my color, and I was thinking I was not worthy. I was always like, and because it was always that if you're fairer, you will get you're going to get better things, better, and people will respect you. If not, you're just kind of from some. I just feel bad that a parent could think like that and look at their kids and compare them. And even my aunts or uncles wouldn't know. Aunts generally they are the ones who call all of us and just. But then I still remember as a kid growing up, at that time itself I started hating myself, because I never looked at myself in the mirror, never looked at myself in the photos. I never was comfortable. So you think right now how far I've come through to now talk to you and publish YouTube videos. So that these are the things which I help. So yeah, I'll come to that, how I overcame all these problems. But so I was the number one hater of myself was me. Okay, so there was nobody else, it was me. And then only the rest of them would come, anybody else. There's no enemy except me, which I didn't realize. I thought this is the way I should punish myself. And I usually cry to God, saying that what, and why you kind of gave me this color. And I used to think that maybe they used to sell in India this fairness cream. Oh my God, that is called Fair and Lovely. I, you tend to put that, and your parents will suggest that, okay, you put some Fair and Lovely maybe, and you kind of want to scrape and see your body, like your skin color grows fair, and you see where and I just kind of thought, maybe today every day I should think, okay, tomorrow my color will become paler, or something will change, something will happen. I was like, this totally took out my good energy out of me. And I was just to, this was one of the major thing in my life. And then the kind of constant fight, whenever there is fight with my sister, sibling fights, she used to know that the point, my weak point was my color, and she can't, other than that she can't trigger me, and my color was the last thing she always uses to say, look at your color. So that was hurting me like anything. And once she says that, I can't tolerate, I'll just go mad. And once I go mad, my father would always support my sister. So again, I had no support of my father at that point of time. I usually think everything is against me, in the sense like, okay, she triggers me and she goes, but and then if I out, I will be like, in a sense, like the trigger, it's like you just get that anger, or you can't control that someone is pointing out your weakness, and then you don't know how to control, and then you go fight with her, because and then father comes on, how dare you talk to girls like this, and he'll scold me rather than scolding her or anything. Like, I mean, when you're kids, you always think, why dad is being like this to mean to me, or am I something? So I kind of stopped talking to my dad. Not talking means I was not close after that, like long time. I've now never been close to my dad, and it's always been like a very kind of what to say, high by kind of, like, I don't know exactly which how to say that. There was a very distant relationship with my father. I never felt close to my father at all. He was there, but only thing, he's always there when we are falling sick. I always feel very secured when he's coming and holding me. That I will definitely say. Apart from my mom's very nervous, so I kind of felt, my father comes only, I'll get cured. Like, if he holds me and he's there, I will be very happy. That is the only point I like him when I was a kid. And other than that, yeah, he was, I mean, I wouldn't say you totally dislike, but he's there, he's on and off. But my mom was mostly the one whom I talked to, and like generally this is what happens most of the families, I believe. So this was what, so again, what I was telling is, the first thing is my color. So you have a color, the issue of color, where you're already hating yourself on the basis of color. And then I was very tiny, I mean thin. I was born thin, and since like I knew I was like a stick, I believe. I was like just like a stick. And when I look at myself, first of all, I had no self-worth, I didn't love myself, and all these things now I understand. But that time, nobody told anything about that. This is how I looked. When I looked at myself, I looked like, oh God, how can you be so ugly? And I used to think like that. Oh God, you're so ugly, and how can you be like this? I hate myself. I just can't look at myself. And so I generally try to avoid anything in photos. Everywhere I try to avoid myself, and then run away, actually. And yeah, so that was one of the things I was holding. And then the father issue, it's like a father, talking to father was always difficult. And it was not a very good, easy relationship. So with the father, had kind of had that kind of relationship for quite a lot of time, till I got into a job, till he felt that I was going to help him in his kind of the financial burden. I started taking over. So till then, it was like never, the discussion was very less, and like I never used to feel like my father was proud of me or something. And then I think the other one is hiding being gay. As I understood, around 18, I knew that there was a first time I realized. 18, no, around 20 years, I think so, around 20 years. That's when I got to know on the internet. I just came across something called about gay and same sex accidentally, and that is the first time I realized that there is something of this kind. It's natural. Until then, I was holding this guilt, the fear. So you understand how much of hatred I had for myself, and I put them all in another person. I was creating an artificial guy who is filled with hate. He was just my shadow side. He was full of hate. And but the others, on the other side, I used to put up like the best kid ever. I used to study well. I used to do, school, just education and all, like studies. I used to study well, because I always felt I had to compensate for all the other things. My color, I had to compensate for this, right? I was thinking I should do good in everything, so that people will start at least respecting me, or otherwise you will not get respect, or nobody will even look at you or talk to you or something like that. No, you won't get love. I was all constantly trying to prove myself, and ensure that I try to get the best. Maybe just try and reach top students in the class, not just never like to fail, because the failure was the last thing I wanted, because I felt my life was a failure because of being the scholar or being gay, and I didn't know, so I was already thinking all this, and in those things then I put so much of extra effort. You think the amount of pressure that I used to have, on top of that I used to perform, I had to study and concentrate on my studies, and I had to kind of come up. So I wouldn't say it was just so difficult. I used to cry, nobody knows anything. I used to cry so many days alone, so many days to just in front of God. I used to cry, and then I've never told any problem to anybody. Nobody was there to even ask me, is there a problem, is there any problem with your fathers didn't know that they were not spending time, because they were also busy at their lives. And parents, right, in the sense, when you have a huge family, my parents and my mother and father's side, like there are like my father's side about 9 siblings, and father's the mother's side about 7 of them. So it's like, the family is a huge family, so they need so many people come go, and they don't have enough time to take care of us. So yes, this was the reality in which I grew, and which totally made me a person, a hate-filled person. I hate the first person who hates myself personally. Okay, so I think my thing is coming to an end. So I will continue in the next video. So I'll join you back. Yeah. See.